Hi, I'm Nick from Income Digs, and welcome to this video tutorial where we show you exactly how we use different tools to execute the various processes within the world of real estate investing. Today's video is a follow-up to the earlier video that introduced how we can use Podio to manage our real estate business. We barely scratched the surface on that previous video, so now we're going to really dive into the details and show off the amazing power of Podio. And the power to customize, really, which is really important for any business. This video is going to focus specifically on how to set up Podio web forms for managing work orders and maintenance requests from your tenants. So we'll use that as our example. We're going to start with the maintenance request app, showing you how that looks within Podio. Second, we're going to take a look at how to set up a web form. And third, we're going to show you how once we submit a web form, we have GlobiFlow execute a workflow, which works really great. So to start, we're gonna just take a look here at my maintenance app within Podio. It's currently on my screen here. You see I have different maintenance requests. I'm using a card layout view for status of the maintenance requests and also the level of severity, so minor, intermediate, or urgent. So if I click on one of these, you'll get a better understanding of what that looks like. So just clicked on a maintenance request or a work order. Washer is not starting. The description is the washer won't start. Something's wrong. It's tied to a property and a unit, in this case 122 Buffalo Lower. The tenant contact info, it's myself. This is a sample, obviously, but if this was a real tenant, it would be the tenant's contact info. The urgency, minor, intermediate, or urgent. Again, you can set this up however you want. You could use urgency, you don't need to. Permission to enter we find to be useful because, as most landlords know, to enter a property, you typically need permission from your tenant, or you'll need to provide a certain amount of lead time. So we put this right in the form that they fill out so they can give us permission to enter right in the form. Reference image, this is obviously clip art, but we allow our tenants to add pictures, and we encourage them to do so we can better understand what the problem is and how difficult the fix might be. The repair status is something we manage, new, scheduled, on hold. We set a target completion, we set an actual completion, we type in what the resolution was. It's assigned to somebody, in this case it's assigned to me. In this area right down here, this helps us to track our performance on maintenance requests. How quickly do we resolve maintenance requests? Do we hit our targets? Also, the resolution and the fact that this is all date driven, this helps us to understand throughout the lifespan of a property and a unit we own what different maintenance was done when. All of this information will be saved. So if we learn after a year of owning a property that we've had 3 or 4 issues with the furnace, well, it's probably a sign that that furnace is about to go, and then we can better plan for the potential for placing it. So keeping all records of maintenance and work orders is really important, and Podio makes it really easy to do that. So this is the app. I'm going to bounce out of here. I'm going to show you how we have a web form set up. I'm not going to go into all the configuration of that yet. So if I go into web form, you can make a web form for every app you have. I've already set this up, but by default it will bring in all the fields, and if you go over here to the right, choose the app fields that you want to be in here. So I mentioned that some of those fields were for me to manage, some of those are tenant driven. So I've checked all the ones that the tenant is going to fill out. They're going to put all that data in, and the ones that aren't checked, we're going to use those internally to manage the maintenance request through resolution. So they don't do anything with those. So you see what the web form is going to look like. You see the preview over to the left. Nothing too fancy about it, nice and simple. So now what I do then, we have this embed code over here. If you don't want to embed the code, you don't need to. You can simply share this link with your tenants and say, if you have a maintenance request, use this link. It's as easy as that. We have embedded our code onto our website, so all you do is copy and paste that onto your website, and it'll show up as one of those pages. So I've done that, so I'm going to switch over to our website. So this is our NY Home Solutions website and our maintenance request page. So when we get a new tenant, we share this with them. We say, here's where you go to submit a maintenance request. They come to this page and they're shown that same web form that we just set up, and they can go through and fill this out. So we're going to do a sample. We're going to do a leaking faucet. Very common maintenance request. The faucet is leaking. It's shut off, but still dripping. What do we do? This is the tenant filling it out, right? They're going to fill in what unit they're talking about. They can start typing. It's all searchable, so they start typing 122 Buffalo Upper. Sure. They're going to put in their information. They're going to put in their email address. I'm going to put in one of my email addresses just so you can see how the workflow works, because we're going to send them a confirmation. So that's their info. Their urgency. They're going to say maybe this is minor for now. It's not really bothering them too much. Permission to enter. You see how we lay out with verbiage here. Are we allowed to come fix it if you're not around? And typically they'll always say yes, but it's good to have it here. Reference images. If they want to do an image, I have a nice leaking faucet image there that's going to pop up. So they're all set. They're going to click submit. Okay, they get the message, thank you, the request has been received. Okay, great. Now they said their email was nick@incomedigs.com, right? So let's look in their inbox. So they have received the maintenance request. This is the email they would receive. They received confirmation. John Smith, we've received your maintenance request. Please note if this is life-threatening. You can lay out all this verbiage, how you want to do it, and we kind of lay out how we go about repairing or responding to this maintenance request from here on. So they received this email. I received an email as well. Same one. I'm copied on that email so that I know that somebody just submitted an email. My business partner and property manager is on there as well. So that's great. Let's see what this looks like in Podio. So if I go to Podio, I have a notification up to the right. If I click on that, maintenance request, assign the task to review new maintenance request. So I set up my workflow such that once somebody submits this web form, it assigns a task to me that, hey, there's a new maintenance request. You need to look at it and do something with it. So I'm going to click on this task. And it will bring me to the task. Here's my task within Podio. It's assigned to me, reference to the leaking faucet. I haven't really looked at this yet. I pretend I don't know what it is. So I can click on this, and it'll show me all the data that the tenant has put in. They wrote in the leaking faucet, the faucet's leaking, the property, the unit, everything. So now from here, I can go ahead and work with this. So by default, the status is set to new. But then once I look at this and I talk with Costa, who is the assigned person to fix it, we're going to schedule it. So I'm going to click scheduled, and I'm going to put a target completion of tomorrow. Okay. Then once we actually complete it, we'll put in the actual completion. We'll add the resolution. We can say complete replacement necessary, and then maybe purchase new faucet from whatever it is, right? So we'll have a record of all of that. So I'm going to go over to my maintenance overview, and you'll see this now show up here. So you saw my washer not starting. Now my leaking faucet's in there too. So as I manage this, I can drag it throughout my card view. If maybe I'm waiting for a part, maybe I'll put it on hold. Or if I finish it, I'll put it on complete, and it won't show up here upon refresh because I have my view set up not to show me anything that's complete. I don't need to look at those. Those are done. But they're always there if I need to look at records. They don't disappear. So you see an overview how this all works. The workflow is great. Now, how do we get the workflow to work? Podio has native workflows. They have advanced workflows for their paid versions. Those are very good. However, they also have an external application called GlobiFlow, which I find to be a bit more powerful, and that's what I use. So I'm just going to show you a glimpse of that right now. A lot of people use GlobiFlow. It's very popular. Podio supports it. It's an authorized partner. You can set up your workflows through here, and again, I find them to be very, very powerful. So if you look, I have some workflows set up. There's this one called new maintenance request. So we're going to dive into that, and you can just take a look at how I've set up the workflow. And we won't go too in depth of this. It can be a little confusing as you first start, but basically you have a trigger, and you can potentially set a filter, and then based on when that trigger happens, you set actions. So here's my trigger. When a new item is created in maintenance, Okay, now I'm thinking this is what will happen when the web form is submitted. Once the web form is submitted, a new item is created. My filter is the revisor is not equal to, that's my business partner, and the revisor is not equal to me. So what this means is if I'm in my Podio and one of us, Costa or myself, needs to add a maintenance request just for tracking purposes, we notice something's wrong, we create a maintenance request, this flow won't go. We don't want it to. We don't want to send emails and confirmations and all of that. So this filters and says, as long as it's not us that are creating this maintenance request, then do all of the following. And all of the following is all these actions. So what are we going to do? We're going to assign the work order to Costa. We're going to set the repair status to new. As I mentioned, that status will start off as new. From there, we will adjust it. We're going to set the target completion just to start at the current date plus a day. Okay, so fix it by tomorrow. So depending on what your service levels are and how quickly you typically respond to maintenance requests, you can set this target completion. And the next and potentially most powerful piece of it is sending the email. So I can really customize an email that's going to send out. So who do I send the email to? Well, I send it to the email that they put in there. You can say who it's coming from, who to copy on it, when they reply, who does it go to, what's the subject, and then you can lay out the whole entire email. So I'm able to put in their name plus all the email. I can even put in the image and brand it with my logo. And lastly, you can assign tasks. You can do a whole slew of other things. These are just what I've done. Assign the task to me to check out this maintenance request. That way it hits my total task list, which I look at every single day and I use to manage my daily work. This will pop up in my task list and say, you need to look at this maintenance request, do something with it, and that way nothing falls through the cracks. So GlobyFlow is great. It's also very complicated. We would need a few in-depth videos to go through that, which I'm more than happy to do if there is a need for that. So that might be in a future video, but for now I wanted to show you the vast power of Podio. It's more than just a system you manage with your own internal team. The power of web forms and workflows allow you to work with your external customers and your external contacts as well. So that does it for today's video. The next videos we're going to keep churning along with Podio. We're going to look at some different features, different ways to use it. We'll stay probably within the property management app to start and then move on from there. In the meantime, leave any comments or questions, anything specific you want to see out of Podio or GlobyFlow, let me know. Check out all the resources available at incomedigs.com, and thank you for watching.